New Zealand, a proud sporting nation, providing the world with beef, cheese, wine. New Zealand's greatest export, however, world-conquering athletes, from Ian Jones to Stacey Jones, Lydia Ko to Kai Kara France, Adams, Fox, Carrington, Lawson. The list goes on. Where did these people come from? How have they risen to glory when so many have crumbled? And what happens when they join the stage of two washed-up has-beens on a Tuesday night in Kingsland?
12 weeks in and we still don't know. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming to Our Year, proudly brought to you by our friends at Spates. Cheers, mates. It's great to be with you here at Full Time. Tonight's also brought to you by the TAB, Scopic, and the mighty One New Zealand Warriors, Jello. We've got an absolute ripper tonight. We got the boss men. We got Cam George, CEO of the One New Zealand Warriors, and Dillon Boucher, former Tall Black superstar, 9-time NZNBL winner, 4-time NBL winner, and now president of the Breakers. So we got an absolute ripper for you tonight. Thanks for coming along. I'm sure there's going to be some absolute gems that we pick from these great men's brains.
It could also be the last thing that anyone ever does today, because the phone alerts have gone off.
They have.
There's a tsunami that could be underwater and by 9 o'clock. So
what a way to
show.
go. What a way to go. If you're going to go out, you may as well do it here at Our Year. That's what I say. But Jello, straight into it, brother. We had a disappointing weekend when it came to our Warriors. The boys went down to the bottom place Titans. They got met by a team who only committed 2 errors the entire game. It's pretty tough to win a game of football when you're only committing 2 errors.
Well, it's very un-Titans-like, because they've played trash against most teams in the comp this year. But they come to Mount Smart Stadium last weekend with the Kieran Foran factor. A guy that's, he's very patriotic, he loves his country, and this is the last time he'll go around. So coming to Mount Smart, there's definitely some emotion there for him, which he shared after the game, and he absolutely done a number on us.
He did. How about that cutout pill out to the winger? That was something special. Vintage Fozzie there. But look, bro, they seem to be a bogey team of ours. 6 out of the last 7 the Titans have got over us. I actually brought my girlfriend over to the Gold Coast to watch her first ever Warriors game last year, where we got pumped by 66-6. So she's banned forever, and
so she was at this Titans game too?
Shit, no, she wasn't.
Okay.
She wasn't.
Oh,
but,
you banned her?
We're clawing it back. We're clawing it back. Yeah, no, she's forever banned. Forever banned. But yeah, look, speaking of bogey teams, bro, look, I guess the Warriors aren't alone, are they?
No, it happens throughout the world of sport. Let's look at this one, the NFL. Now, the Patriots, they have a bogey team, which is the New York Giants, for those that don't know. It's
Eli Manning.
Eli Manning. So in 2007, the Patriots were 18-0.
Yes.
Undefeated all year. Run into the Giants. Lights out.
Yeah, lights out. Eli Manning didn't do it once. He did it twice in a Super Bowl. Sort of like the weird offspring version of Peyton Manning, like maybe, with a couple extra side effects there. But, he was never the most talented bloke, but when he stepped up to the Super Bowl, he just had Brady's number.
That was it, man. So 2007, 2011, he did it again when they were 15-3. They were flying and got taken down again. Queensland.
Let's talk about Queensland.
When it comes to Game 3 deciders, Queensland.
7 out of 9.
7
out of 9.
That's 7 out of the last 9. I don't know how far that goes.
It looks
back,
like Luai and Walsh are about to passionately kiss in that photo there. Teddy's looking on in amazement, like, what's going on here? I mean, I would too, to be honest. There's a lot of love in that gaze.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. I never look at that photo that way, but...
I mean, how can you not see it? They look like they're about to passionately...
Well, too much love in their eyes. That might be why they've lost 7 out of the last 9.
Yeah.
And finally, Major League Baseball. So every time the Yankees seem to take on the Twins, 13-2 in the postseason.
Yeah, look, I think this is a case of big dog meets little dog. Like Minnesota, small market, small budget. The Yankees, if I'm facing them, I'd be pretty scared too. A $480 million payroll for 1 year. Cam George, what do you reckon about that one? We could do some Melbourne storming and get a couple third-party deals there. But that's, yeah, look, it's pretty hard to keep up with that.
Sure is, man. Going back to rugby league, the Wahine was.
The Wahine, it wasn't their day, Jello. I think they just got outmatched by a better footy team on the day. Georgia Hale came back to play against her old teammates.
Again, the Kiwi factor.
The Kiwi
Kiwis
factor.
coming home, it does something to you.
Yeah, look, it seems like they've been staying away from the Cass on the Gold Coast, unlike Jared Hayne in his time at the Gold Coast. But yeah, look, I think the Titans, they've had a tough year, but they're starting to play some football. You saw on the men's team, and that Titans women's team with Jamie Chapman at the back, that's a solid footy team. I was quite impressed with them.
Yeah, they can play, man, and it's a kind of competition. You don't know who's going to do what. You know, we're still trying to build the form guide for that one. Sorry, mate. Some of your mates playing on the weekend.
Yes, so the Lions scraped defeat away from Australia in the last minute, and this guy here, Hugo Keenan. My mate, actually, I have a great story about Hugo Keenan. Me and him and a couple of the other Irish boys when I was on tour in Ireland. We went to this pub called The Celt, and we got to about 12. There it is. That was at about 3. But basically, we all got kicked out of this bar at about 12, and I was like, oh, sick, you know, great night with the fellas. Then they go, all right, come around the back. And then so till the very early hours, we basically had this entire pub to ourselves. I'm talking like a 400, 500 person pub just to ourselves. Donica, the pub's owner, son, brings down his guitar, playing traditional Irish songs, free Guinness to the early hours in the morning, and that'll make a man smile, like that chuff man in the middle there. But Hugo Keenan scored that winner in the last minute, and there was a contentious decision around it. So before a couple rucks beforehand, Carlo Tizzano got cleaned out, and there was a big to-do with the TMO.
Yeah, we got the footage for that. First, I want to know, how many Guinness did it take before you took the guitar for yourself?
1. doesn't take much, mate.
I got a song.
Yeah, look, we went song for song, and this bloke, man, he's got one of those crazy Irish voices, you know, and the storytelling Irish songs. Oh, back in Dublin, you know, like he's an epic dude.
He nailed that, bro.
Oh, thank you, bro. I might have a future in it. Yeah, look, it was a very contentious decision. I believe we got the the
Let's
video.
watch out. This is the last minute of the Lions beating Australia in Game 2.
Byrne goes forward. What a finish.
The Australian and the British commentary very different.
Again, looks for the pass. He found it last week at the start. Doesn't do it now. Ryan. Gibson Park.
Did you feel like this was
Keenan.
coming?
Always.
Get it up.
Come on, Hugo, my boy.
The story written as the Lions would have wished for now. What?
Did any part of your body feel sorry for Australia?
Wilson's desperate here, and Tozier arrives.
Not even a single drop of blood.
What do they know?
It was a bloody good game.
What do they hope for?
So this is the clean out here. That's technically illegal by the book. But what the explanation was that they arrived at the ruck at the same time. And also classic Australian diving like he's been shot by a sniper as well. So that probably didn't help.
We don't see any full play. Try stay.
He's waiting for the try to be disallowed, isn't he? Oh,
And
Andy
look at the
Payne.
smile from Jack Morgan.
Well, at the end of the day, it is a penalty, and it should have been overturned by the book. But look, a massive occasion, 94,000 at the G. First time they played a footy game there, maybe ever.
Well, it's refreshing to see because so many decisions have gone back. The TMO's put his hand on so many things, World Cup finals, you know, so many big games. It is nice finally to have a little bit of common sense out there because it's not always common sense with the TMO. In fact, I'm sick of TMOs. Okay, we're going to, I want to expose the TMOs how bad they can be. I'm going to play a little game with the crowd right now. Okay, do we have anybody that wants to have a crack at being a TMO? This whistle is for you. You're going to sit here, you're going to be our TMO. Okay, TMO, yes or no. I'm going to play a little sports highlight. And if you see anything wrong, any foul play, you blow your whistle and you let us know what it is, okay? All right, so let's go to the NBA, some classic NBA action, and let's see if our TMO is up to standard.
They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry! With 0.6 of a second remaining.
you reckon? Anything there?
Play on, or are we calling anything up?
Whistle?
Oh my days! Holy shit, I won't be able to hear after that.
All right, TMO's got something. What do you got, mate?
Well, the shot was fine, but I think afterwards he illegally ran off the court, which voids the goal.
Okay, very good. Because most TMOs, especially in the rugby union world, would pull this up. Let's see if you're close. Let's see what the TMO actually had.
The TMO will always find something. That's what
There's
I
always something. I love your attitude. You've found something there. Let's have a look what they got. So there's the replay there. Look at that. Before we even get to the shot, okay, you got to be a real TMO to see that guy's toe is on the line. There are 7 players or 6 players on the court.
Sorry, wrong. Wrong is the answer. That is not play on. Call it back. Steph Curry, you have not won the game. 6 men on the court.
Okay, let's go next one. Let's go to the world of triathlons. Paula Radcliffe. All right, what do you got, TMO?
Pretty obvious, isn't it? Going to the whare paki on the side of the road.
You think it's pretty obvious. There's actually nothing in the rule book to say you can't do that.
No wiping afterwards.
No wiping. No consideration for the runners coming after her. She didn't move out of the lane.
Slippery surface, for the runners. I don't know.
Mate, you're a great TMO because there's so much wrong with that, but that was actually allowed. That was actually called play on. So let's move on to the next one. 2015. One of the great rugby league moments.
First grand final golden point. Thurston to choose from, which Coot. He hits it, he's got it! He's got the field goal! He's got the premiership!
No whistle yet. Oh!
All right, the TMO's got something. What do you got, mate?
I mean, if you go from today's league, he got lifted a bit.
Oh, yes.
That is true.
I mean, you're going off.
That is true. I mean, yeah, look, I would have to agree with you, but that's not what we've pulled it up for. So we've got, if we can play that again, we've got markers blocking their way to the kicker. They would have a field day with it in 2025 in the NRL.
The first grand final.
Keep an eye on these markers.
Thurston to choose from, which Coot.
You can't be doing that. You can't be doing that.
So Marcus will be blocked. Okay, but if you're thinking like a true rugby union TMO, okay, you're going to go back in time. Not just back to the tackle before. You're going to go back 40,000 years to a prehistoric age where the ancestors of the Cowboys and the Broncos first met. All the way back. Still going. So here we are 40,000 years ago. TMO doing his best work. This guy's hit the ground. Okay? It's a man on the floor and someone's come straight over the top of him. The footage isn't great, it's quite old. But that's how far the TMOs are going back these days. So you picked up things that we didn't even think about, mate. So you are a TMO. Congratulations. You get to keep that whistle.
Oh, do I?
It's going to serve you well.
Yeah, that could come handy at work.
Tsunami only took out the South Island, which is great news.
Well, it is in the recent light of the netball results. Mate.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, the tactics. Was it the tactics? It was the tactics from down south. They dominated our Mystics from up here this week, 58-46. Not a great weekend for Auckland Sport, Jello. We were talking last week with Courtney Tyree and Sulu Fitzpatrick, both former Silver Ferns, about this final, and they were pretty certain the Mystics were going to get it done and done handily. So it was a big upset.
Yeah, well, they didn't just tell us that the Mystics were going to win. They told us how they were going to win. And they spoke about the wing attack, Peter Toiava, being so dangerous, being the one to feed Wallum in the middle there. And she said the only way they can lose is if they get big bodies over her and stop that pass. Is exactly what they did. Karen Berger, phenomenal.
Yeah, look, I didn't get to catch the game, but I did see the highlights, and they were never really in it in the end. And when you get out to 12 goals in netball, that's at any stage, that's a pretty hard gap to close. But look, maybe next year for the Mystics. Maybe next year for the Blues. But you know what? This year, it's our year for the Warriors.
It's our year,
brother.
but you know what? Let's look at the year so far, because Auckland so far this year, the Mystics, unlucky in the final. AFC knocked out in the semi.
Yes.
Moana missed out on the finals. The Blues losing to the Cantabrians again.
Yep.
CKB, Kai lost his bout. He lost his title fight. And the Auckland Tuatara nowhere to be seen in the semis.
Yes, and the Auckland Tuatara baseball team been gone for about 5 years now as well. So look, it hasn't been great for Auckland, but I believe we're still in with a damn good chance. There's still hope. But we're going to have to come up against this guy some stage in the finals. Jerome Hughes just signed $4 million 4-year extension, which will take him to 36 by contract's end. You'd think that that's a bit risky, you know, taking a half who's just dislocated a shoulder on the weekend at 30 to basically the end of 36 years of age. So, you know, it's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, the Storm know what they're doing. Bellyache knows what he's doing. Munster needs a dance partner. But Jerome Hughes in the last couple of years has really established himself as one of the premier halves in the game.
He sure has, mate, and the shoulder can't be that bad if he can still sign the $4 million contract.
He might be a lefty. He might be a lefty.
Hey, speaking of the Melbourne Storm, this is something that I think you'll find quite interesting, Mitch. This is a cumulative table, okay? I've got the table up here, the full table, if anybody wants to see. Since 1998, if you just added up all the regular season games, this is what the competition would look like. Look at the gap that the Melbourne Storm have, 449 wins. The gap that they have with their second place Roosters there.
And still no one gives a fuck about rugby league in Melbourne. It's unbelievable. What more have they got to do? What more can they do? 904 points to 780 in second is unbelievable. Obviously Brisbane has got the Broncos have got a foothold on that whole region.
Yeah.
And the Panthers as well. Actually, I mean, despite the last 4 or 5 years, I am surprised to see them in 4. They've had they had a bit of a lull.
They had a little purple patch in the early 2000s. They won a comp in 2003. So they've not been too bad. People wondering where the Warriors sit on this? 10th.
I'll take 10th.
Yeah, just behind the Dragons.
11th.
Behind the Dragons. 11th. I try to give them some GST there, try to pump them up. But one thing the Warriors have, they've never won the wooden spoon.
Yes, and we never will.
And never will. Amen.
And never will. Speaking of guys who played in Melbourne, we had the Kiwi Messi retiring this week, Marco Rojas. 155 A-League games, 45 games for the All Whites. Ended up going to Europe, but it didn't really work out for him, which got me thinking, you know, if you're the Cook Island Mal Meninga, potentially.
You're the Kiwi Ed Sheeran?
I'll take that. The shittier version of Dave Dobbin, potentially.
We'll take that too.
I'll take that all day. But yeah, shout out to Marco, a great career, and yeah, look, he gave some great memories to people in Wellington and Melbourne. Won a couple of championships.
Well, he gave some great memories to my younger self growing up. I used to play FIFA, and I'd always make it as hard as I could, so I'd try to take the Phoenix to like win everything, and that was tough. That's very tough.
Get the ball to Marco.
It was. Give it to Marco, get some shots off.
So we've been giving this dude shit all year, Liam Lawson, but he had an absolute beauty on the weekend. Ooh. 8th place. He's finally getting involved in the points. He's starting to not crash out. He's getting to finish these races. He's beating the shit out of Yuki Tsunoda, the guy who took his seat for Red Bull, and it's really encouraging to see. You know, we had a little laugh last week about his engineers farting in his helmet.
Well, you had the theory that he had pink eye. That's why he's been struggling this year.
I did have that theory, and it's hard to look at. You know, they have that thing in the middle of their vision in the Formula One car. You know, when one eye is puffed up in pink, it's quite hard to see it, let alone with two working ones. But 8th place at Spa, they're off to Hungary this week, so hopefully he's hungry for some points.
Amen to that. And our freak of the week, to round us off for our weekend recap.
Ali Wollaston.
Amen.
Ali Wollaston, that's not Ali Wollaston, that's Sione Tuipulotu. I don't know if we should be showing Ali this clip, but Ali finished on the podium for a Tour de France Femme stage, which is basically the Tour de France for women, which is an incredible feat. These girls are absolute weapons of athletes. The Tour de France is a 30-day bike race. spanning, I think it's over 6,000 kilometres. It is an absolute freak show. If you're even able to make it to the finish. Kiwi has never won a stage, but this is about as good as it gets.
Yeah, it's pretty grueling comp. I remember once Bradley Wiggins, the great Bradley Wiggins, who won the Tour de France, he came and trained with us when we were in Wigan. And he won the first day. And one of the boys messaged him, "Congratulations, mate. Enjoy the rest." Get your feet up. Didn't realise it's a whole month, so unlucky rules. But no, Ali done a great job. So this particular leg was quite flat, so they predicted a big sprint finish, and it was exactly that. And a massive crash, big pile-up that she was able to swerve as well. So
yeah, there's not much protection in that Lycra. So I'm glad to see Ali got through that one and doing us proud on the world stage. But look, Jello, it's now time for our esteemed guest to join us. Ladies and gentlemen, can you please give a big our year welcome firstly to the CEO of the One New Zealand Warriors, Mr. Cameron George. And ladies and gentlemen, please give a big our year welcome to the President of the New Zealand Breakers, Mr. Dillon Boucher. Fellas, oh, that's a bit hot. Fellas, thank you so much for joining us. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here. You know, we're big fans of both the operations that you run here, and it's an absolute pleasure to have you on board. So, Dillon, starting with you, brother, born in Taranaki.
You're forgetting our tradition. We have a tradition on this show.
We do have a tradition.
Okay. The tradition is we play, when someone comes up, we play the song that was number one when they were born. Okay, so we're going to start with you, Dillon. The number one song from 1975. You know, we're all mates up here. Where did you go to high school? Actually, I've got a photo of your high school, St. John's College in Lismore. Look at that establishment.
What a prestigious establishment.
What is that? It's pretty big. Is that a boarding school?
Yeah, boarding school. There's about 400 boys there, and up where the white at the top there underneath the roof, that's where we all slept up there in the dormitories, and yeah, that was it. It's about 20 k's out of town.
So where are you from? Are you from Lismore?
Casino. It's about an hour further west from there, so pretty small country town actually. That's a good photo.
Casino, aptly named town for someone who ended up getting into the thoroughbred business later on in life.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the beef capital of Australia, actually.
Really? Wow.
Oh, yeah, 100%. No, it's a great little town. Get back there a bit still, and yeah, it's a good part of the world.
So that's New South Wales, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, so Dillon, again, thanks for joining us, brother. You were born in Taranaki, I believe, but an Auckland boy raised.
Yeah, so grew up in a little town called Bell Block in Taranaki, and lived there till I was about 14, and then moved to Papatoetoe, and then have been in Auckland ever since.
Nice, and obviously being as tall as you are, was basketball always the goal and always the dream?
It actually wasn't. Like when I was younger, like every New Zealand kid, I dreamed of being an All Black. So I played a bit of rugby and kind of fell in love with basketball. Probably in those high school years, and I did grow a little bit in sixth form, and and then the rest was kind of history.
I'm still waiting for my sixth form growth spurt, but we'll get there.
Hey, Camo, what was your aspirations, young man from St. John's College? What was your aspirations to be when you were older?
Just probably move out of casino first and foremost. Get out of there, and I love sport. Got into the horse racing industry, travelled extensively with that, and ended up over here. And always wanted to do two things. I wanted to be in racing and work in rugby league, and somehow I found it to achieve both. So it's good.
Oh, nice, man. I've actually got a little throwback photo of you here. I don't know how far back this one is. Nope, that's Dillon's one. There you are. When was this? Started as a jockey, made us work your way up?
10 kilos ago, and that was about 2013 when I first took over Ellerslie, I reckon it was. Yeah, I don't know what was going on there.
What was the pathway for that? So you start how did you even get into racing to begin with?
Mate, to be honest, I really was a poor student. I didn't even do an exam when I left because I couldn't read or write at that point in time. I had to do a listening test, and I felt like my only way of getting out of and getting into something I love was just working with the animals and stuff like that. I thought that's where it'd sort of start and finish, and sort of progress through that, and you just learn people skills along the way, and I just worked my way up the ladder through Queensland, Sydney, Melbourne, and then got afforded an opportunity to come here. And it's when you find something you're passionate about, you don't, all those sort of little things in life that became challenges become easier, and you do what you think's right and common sense a lot of the ways, and sort of enjoyed racing that much that it helped me. So I am where I am now because of racing and because of the people.
And how about you, Dillon? Coming to Papatoi as a youngster, was basketball sort of the pathway that led you? What am I trying to say here? So, with basketball, was that what sort of grew you up and made you the man that you are today?
Yeah, it was interesting. So going to Papatoi High School, we actually didn't have any hoops in our gym.
Wow.
So I played basketball, wanted to continue playing, got to the school. We lived just across the road really from the school, and then realised the school had no hoops. So first thing we did was try to get some hoops in the gym, and so again had a hoop outside my room at home. So just spent many hours out there, and I guess when you talk about falling in love with the sport, that was how I fell in love with the game. And for me, it wasn't really training. Later on, it became training, but it was just what I loved to do. I just loved being outside, freedom of shooting the ball and seeing it go through the net, and fell in love with the game, and kind of then it just followed the journey from there.
So what was your sort of pathway onto those higher ranks of the game?
I had a really bizarre pathway, and Daryl, who's here tonight, we were in the New Zealand junior team together, but those days in the trials, there was trials, and I wasn't invited to the trial, and my high school coach rang the coach and said, "I've got this kid you need to have a look at." So he goes, "Yeah, we'll bring him along." So along I went and made the team, and then he was also the Auckland coach at the time, so got picked up for Auckland, and then he later became the Tall Black coach, and that's how I got my Tall Black debut as well.
Yeah, so that was in 2001, that Tall Black debut, and then obviously the next year was the 2002, the famous 2002 team with Pero Cameron, Phil Jones, legends of the game, and you guys went on to shock the world, and tell us about that process, that team, and what made that so special, because I think that'll be talked about forever when it comes to New Zealand basketball.
Yeah, just a special group of guys that understand their role, understand what it takes to win, prepared to just do what the coach asks you to do. Really high IQ group. A lot of the group has gone on to either be in high roles and off the court or in coaching roles. So a lot of the success of that team has flowed into coaching or administration of the game. So just again a group of guys that all enjoyed playing together, all good mates still to this day, and just enjoyed playing hard and celebrating each other's success on the court. And it sounds simple, and every team should be like that, but I can assure you it's not.
Mate, what was that? There was a photo that popped up for half a second. A little throwback there. Who's in this photo?
Yeah, so Cam talked about 10 kilos ago. I think that was about 25 kilos ago. I think that's probably about 1998, that photo. And Lance White in the middle and Andrew Park on the other side. And we just won a three-peat by the look of the three fingers. So, that was in the New Zealand NBL playing for, I think, Rebel Sport Auckland. So, yeah, really, really good team. Daryl, were you on that team? Nah, you joined us later. But Daryl, who's down here, was in the many years with Auckland with me. But again, just a good bunch of fellas that enjoy playing hoops together.
Speaking of a good bunch of fellas, Sean Marks, you guys remain close today, like especially in your line of work and things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Like Sean's doing it on the highest stage in the world. Anytime you're GM of an NBA team, what an accolade. But still stay in touch with Sean, and actually was up in Vegas just a couple of weeks ago and caught up with lunch with him up there. And like I say, he's a busy man, but he's doing it. Yeah, he's the man.
I've actually got a clip of you two playing together. Okay, so you might know
I know where this is going. Yeah.
The quality on this isn't great, but we'll roll it out anyway. So there's you with the ball steal.
I cannot believe a man is so big that he makes you look small and could shove you like that. That is absolutely ridiculous.
There was a story behind that. I'll go into the story.
Oh, yes, please.
Again, and Yao Ming doesn't agree with the story, but so Yao Ming was killing us in that game. That was at the Olympics, 2004 Olympics, and we needed to win that game to get through to the next stage. And we'd normally beat China every time. And Yao was killing us, and he ended up finishing with 40 points in the game, and I think he did not miss a shot the whole game or a free throw, and he was on 4 fouls at the time. And so when I stole it, and I dished it to Sean Marks and he posterised them, I thought, now's my opportunity. He's going to be humiliated from the dunk. There's an opportunity to get his 5th foul. So I got in his face, knowing he would put his hands on me, and knowing he would push me. So I went down like a sack of spuds, and the referee just gave me the get up. So humiliated, and then after the game, you go into a players' lounge, and I remember Yao coming in, and I had ice all over me, which I normally had after games, but he came in and he put his arm around me and he said, I didn't do it on purpose. And I was like, nah, it's all good. And I tried to explain the story to him, and he says, no, I was only on 3 fouls. And still to this day, we've caught up several times, and he assures me he was only on 3 fouls, so it wasn't even worth it in the end.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Yao Ming is literally a product of the Chinese government. Like there's a story, I'm not sure if it's verifiable or whatever, but he was apparently the mother is a Chinese basketball center, and the father was the tallest man in in China, and they were forced to breed. But hey, look, it didn't end up too badly. Yao Ming, 7'4", was he? Or 7'6". Unbelievable. I mean, almost as tall as me, Jello.
Almost, brother, almost. Hey, Cam, so, we're going to bounce around in this conversation. We'll just do our best here. You're moving from racing, jumping over to rugby league. Was that passion for rugby league already there?
Yeah, absolutely. Loved the game, loved the sport, was fascinated by the challenges, and particularly at the Warriors. So when the opportunity came up to go there, it was a pretty easy decision. 2018 was the start of it, and we are where we are now, but very passionate about it.
How did it come about? Sorry, was Robbo there before you were there, or did you come in at the same time?
No, I was there before Robbo. I think I had 3 different owners in the space of 18 months, so it all changed pretty quickly. So I was there before him, and Auckland Rugby League, and then Robbo. So it was pretty swift movement, but it's all good.
As CEOs now, people look at a CEO and you think there's a million things to do. Obviously, you're going to delegate and things like that. I'll ask this question to both of you. Kind of what is your role? Give us a brief of your role, and what is it that takes up the lion's share of your focus or takes up your time?
Yeah, for me, probably what I'm doing now is not what I'll end up doing, but my role of president of basketball was basically when the new ownership took over Breakers, we talked about 2 pillars, and so there was the business side or the commercial side, and then the basketball side. So for me, I essentially run the basketball side of the business. So my day-to-day today, I was literally looking for apartments for players, not physically looking at them, but having them put in front of me going, are these suitable? So again, I've got a team, an ops team that basically makes sure that the team have got everything they need to succeed. And then my role is basically managing them to ensure that we are getting wins on the board, recruiting the right players, and making sure that the players are doing what they're supposed to be doing, essentially. So my role has been, it's actually a really fun role, and I actually love being back there. And to me, building and constructing a roster, and Cam will know this from doing it at the Warriors, that's the fun part. It's putting these pieces of the puzzle together to try and find those diamonds in the rough that you can get cheap, so you're not going over the salary cap, and then your star players being able to put them in the best position to succeed by putting players around them that are willing to play a role and sacrifice their own game for the superstar and those sorts of things. So that's what I love and really enjoy it as a now a president of basketball.
Well, speaking of that, actually, you've been shopping. Isaiah Bockington, the new signing.
Yeah,
can you tell us about him?
Yeah, pretty pumped about him. Again, a player I'd watched. Each player we recruit, we watch, days of footage on these guys. We use our intel, and we've got people everywhere around the world that, have either played with them or played against them, and we ring them and ask them questions and try and find a little bit. And no one had a bad word to say about this guy. And he's a 6'4", strong guard, lefty that can really shoot it. He's got he jumps as high as his table to shoot his jump shots. He's a crazy athlete. He looks like his twitch fibers are just ready to fire at any moment, so we're excited for him. He looks like at any moment he can just lock people up defensively as well, so we're excited for what he's going to bring. And it always takes imports a little while to adjust to New Zealand and the style of play, but once they do, we're hoping that he's going to be a real find, and him playing alongside Parker Jackson Cartwright and Kareem Lopez is going to be pretty special to watch.
before we move on to you, Cam, with the Warriors, I just want to ask them, I look at the NBL and it's a rotating door almost when it comes to players. So what sort of challenges do you find in recruiting the team and putting it together, knowing that this guy could get picked up by the EuroLeague, or if he goes great guns, he could go to the Summer League or whatever. So take us into your office and what it's like to try and have a future vision for this team, knowing that these guys can go at any time.
You want to always build a core. You want to have a strong, and usually for us, we want a Kiwi core or a local core. So you may have a sprinkle of Australians in the group, but for us, you've got to have a really strong core group that you can rely on week in and week out, that are going to be your grafters and do the dirty work and be able to set the framework for your superstars to operate out of. But essentially, as you say, for us, if we're the stepping stone and we help develop guys so they're so good that they end up going and playing EuroLeague or the NBA, then we've done our job. It's unfortunate we lose them, but you just hope that eventually they will come back and play at the tail end of their career. And we've got a few guys at the moment playing overseas that, you know, I've already had conversations with and said, you just give me the nod when you're ready to come home and we'll have a conversation.
Is Stephen Adams one of those guys?
100%, yeah, I know. We'd love to have Stephen Adams, no matter what age.
Yeah, one day, hopefully, we'll get the big Kiwi back. But Cam, take us into the Warriors office at Mount Smart. You know, it's you've joined in 2018, and the club was in a very different place, but they were a finals team that year, and then obviously we had the challenges of COVID, and I mean, for the lack of a better term, you've been the saviour of this club, and I think all the fans, I can speak for them by saying thank you for what you've done for the club. But, you know, now it's 2025 and all of those challenges are behind you. What's it like this week? You know, we got the big game, we're in the top 4. Take us into your process.
Not too dissimilar. You know, sporting organisations are all about people, in my view, and it starts and finishes when you either employ the wrong person and you get problems, or you sign the best players, or the players coming through and they're professional and they get the job done for you. Occasionally you get that very wrong. I remember in 2018, probably my biggest, I suspect, regret in my career would, signing a player by the name of Anthony Gelling. He turned up, walked through the gates from England after charging down a Corey Parker goal that you can't do in rugby league. But have you got that?
Wasn't
footage?
that a penalty? I wish we had that clip.
I wish I had it too.
I think the only man in the history of the world to try charge down a penalty.
Yeah, correct. No, look, for me, it's all about like planting the seed now, letting others sit in the shadow in the future. And if you can be selfless, and we try and employ people that are thinking about the future more so than the now. But naturally, we've got to try and win now. And the pressure of sport is, the organisation. You get under a lot of pressure sometimes, and the only thing that gets you through it are the people in your organisation, I can assure you, because the noise on the outside is just horrendous. And if you can stick together and drive through those tough times and come out the other end with your plan that you don't deviate from, it'll work for you. So get the best people. We all love our role. We all want to win all the time. And, you hate losing, but it's part of sport. And injuries and all those uncontrollables just happen. And as CEOs and people who work in the office, all we can do is have the environment right and just let people excel within it.
So I got a question for both of you in terms of tickets. So, you guys are both in leagues that might traditionally struggle for ticket sales, but the Breakers and the Warriors break that mould, and they really speak to that fan base. What do you guys put down your success to in that field?
I think I'll let Cam answer this first, looking at the crowds I've had.
A couple of years ago, we lost all of our fan base during COVID. We had no heartbeat, no home, no nothing. And so we thought, how are we going to connect again? And the focus and the investment that we put into our game day experience is really big. We ensure that people come through our gates for the experience and not necessarily just the footy result. And it takes a bit of time to get there, and we are getting there. However, the most important thing, I think, personally, is that we've priced it right. We had an opportunity to sort of go more and more and more and be greedy, but I would rather have a full stadium of passionate supporters that see our sponsors and everyone just tick the boxes and go, this is great. It flows onto other revenue lines like merchandise and all that sort of thing. Or you can go the other side of the coin and be extremely greedy and charge more than you should and only have half a stadium. Be full, be happy, be proud, and have plenty of energy. And we had that weather challenge, and it's something I admire these guys for. Like they don't, so they get a chance to rain, hail, or sunshine, be really loud and proud, which they do a great job too.
And how about on the Breakers side, Dillon? You know, like I went to a game, one of the openers last year, and I was actually taken back at the atmosphere within Spark Arena. It's actually bumping. You know what I mean? Like I was expecting it to be a little bit tinner, if I'm going to be honest. But the fans were loud, the music was pumping, everyone's got the clap sticks going. I remember saying to my girlfriend, who she used to play for New Zealand, you wouldn't believe it with my height, but I said to her afterwards, I was like, I was so engaged in that whole sort of game day experience. So take us into the Breakers side of things.
Yeah, very much like Cam and the Warriors. You know, we're fortunate enough to play inside in an air-conditioned stadium, so when it's hot outside you can get a bit of reprieve, and when it's raining you can get out of the rain. But we try to create 2 hours of entertainment, and there's a basketball game going on in the middle of it. So you want to be able to have things for kids to do on the way in, face painting, bouncy castles, you know, stick-on tattoos, you name it. And again, you want to then let the players do what they do, and then in amongst timeouts, half-times, you know, when there's spare gaps, it's full noise on the court, sponsor activations, giveaways, you know, things to engage the crowd. So we've got the advantage of having, again, big screens in the stadium too. So again, engaging the crowd. So
Where were we, Dillon?
Yeah, so again,
Game day experience.
Game day experience, yeah. Just being able to, you know, put as much as you can into 2 hours of entertainment. Basketball is one of the few sports that is been alive. You know, when you get to go to a game and you get to experience it, it is actually a really fun night out. And if you've never been to a game, as Mitch experienced, like it's a good night out. So if you've never been to a game, get along and watch it, and you'll be impressed, even if you don't know anything about basketball.
I've been a few times actually. I love it. Family love it. We were actually lucky. We're given some courtside tickets. So now every time we get the other tickets, my missus like, nah.
Yeah.
Unless it's courtside, nah.
It's like
She's
business
been
class.
spoiled. She's been
You
spoiled.
can't go back to economy after you've been sitting in business, brother.
No, you can sit anywhere, mate. It's a bloody good night. I was going to ask you this one, decision making. Okay, so in both your guys' roles, obviously, you know, a lot of things will start and finish with you guys. When it comes to making tough decisions, do you have a process? Do you sleep on it? Do you flip a coin? Do you ask around? Do you kind of have a meeting, ask the world what they think?
I think for me, you know, like I had to do it this year. First, starting in the role, and we had a player who was struggling with an injury, had 1 more year to go on his contract. I'd actually played with him on another team, so he was a mate of mine, which made it incredibly hard. And I thought, he'll be good, you know, I'll ring him and just talk it through with him. But when you're getting told your bread's not going to be buttered anymore to a player, they would get pretty upset. He was good about it later on, but those are the parts you hate most about the job. But you have to make those tough decisions for what's best for the club. And at the end of the day, we say it often in sport, it's a business decision. And again, if the value that they're putting out there is less than what you're actually putting into them, then it makes the decision pretty easy. And so for us, we moved on from a player this year who was a great guy, great team guy. He just wasn't able to produce as he was able to maybe a couple of years ago, and he was on a decent sized contract. So for us, being able to offload that salary and be able to work out with him a payout, so he's still got some money, and work out an agreement was a tough decision, but ultimately I could sleep at night because I know it's the right decision to make. And now he's actually retired since, so I don't feel so bad that he hasn't gone on to play for another team and going to torch us or anything like that. So yeah, he's gone and retired, which is nice.
Camo?
Yeah, similar. I think my process is pretty black and white. Like club first all the time. The minute you don't put the club first, you'll make it makes the whole decision much tougher. And for me, it's just been decisive and clear. Like, if you're talking about players, you've got to have a plan. You've got to understand, is there a place for them in the team? Is it the best thing for the team? Is it the best thing for the club? If no, the best thing you can do respectfully is be honest and turn that player out and give them an opportunity to go elsewhere. Otherwise, the experience, the culture they create, it far outweighs the toughness of a decision that you have to make. So, club first, decisive.
So I've been starting to watch the Welcome to Wrexham documentary recently, and I think it's absolutely incredible. So hard to not like the club and what the owners are doing. You know, in this current society, storytelling is so important to the fans. So can you sort of shine a light on how both of these clubs are now connecting with their fans and how that might have been different as to, say, 10 years ago?
Yeah, I think in sport there's two parts to it. So there's people follow players. So you might like LeBron James and he changes teams, so you follow LeBron James. And then you have people that absolutely love their team. And so if LeBron James leaves, their jersey gets burnt to the ground and they're dead to them.
I'm one of those. I think they call them a bronze-sexual, and I am one of those.
So, you're trying to build, again, with social media these days, you're trying to build each player's brand so people can understand and resonate with them, because what's going to bring me along to a game is different to what's going to bring Cam along to a game. And so if we can engage with something with our players that resonates with the fans, that will bring them along to a game. And then hopefully that, to what Cam mentioned earlier, it can't just always be about winning and losing. You get 20,000 in the gates. If you lose and everyone leaves unhappy, then what's the point? So it's like if everyone leaves knowing they've had a great experience, their team's put it all out there, and they've just lost to a better team, and they can leave happy as opposed to being really disappointed. So for us, we're always trying to build the individual brands as much as the club brand as well.
For sure. And Camo, how about you? I feel like before you started, the club didn't really have that voice, and now unanimously across the NRL, everyone knows that the Warriors have got the best social media team, the best storytellers.
Yeah, again, it's getting the right people in the right roles. The narrative around connecting our club to the people of New Zealand, first and foremost. It doesn't matter how good your social media is. If your footy team ain't winning or your basketball team ain't winning, honestly, mate, social media it's an absolute platform for poison feedback. So when you're winning, it's the best platform in the world. But all you can do, I think what Dillon was saying is really good. We've got all these individuals that wear the colours that create the club, the team, and so on. They're the heroes of the kids, and the more you can put them out there and show sides of them that they are human, they are people, and they do connect with normal people. You get that story out there, and we've got a really good team of people that do that well. So I'm not going to sit here and say I know everything about social media and the digital side of the world, but it is a part of the world it's so important to our club.
Mate, I look at the players today in both sports, and especially for the younger players, they can be so affected by results. I think the older players, you kind of learn to distance yourself, but I feel like coaches take that to another level where the results they are living and dying on those results.
Michael Maguire.
As CEOs, do you carry that home? Is it is it another level above coaches? Kind of where do you sit with that?
Yeah, it's sort of, I'm getting better as time goes on, but also getting a greater expectation of performance, and I feel like I understand a lot better and get a better read on the week. When you're in and around it all the time, you're not as cutthroat on the results, because either you see the effort going in and you know they're trying and they're just not getting the outcomes and so on, so you can ride through that. The minute there's no effort, that's what really disappoints me, and I feel that just becomes a public, opinion that we're not trying and all that sort of thing. So it hurts. Like last Saturday night, it hurt that effort much to get beaten when I knew we should have won it. The team knew we should have won it. Times like that, it does hurt, but as long as they're having a go, that's a big step towards winning and having a good club when you've got that underbelly of effort.
Yeah, we're the same. It's all about process at the end of the day. So if you get your process right, so you're going to win some games, you're going to lose some, and you're going to probably lose some you should have won, and you're going to win some you should have lost. It's how it goes. I try and ride the waves a little bit, but I try and stay down the bottom of the waves so I don't get too high, and I don't, I give a little fist pump when we do something good, but you'll never see me jumping up until that final shot goes in on a championship or something. Then I'll be, jumping around like a lunatic. But after that, I'm kind of doing internal fist pumps and then also internal gut punches as well when things don't go your way.
Do you ever look at other sports? So this is one that's been in the headlines lately, is netball. So netball, it's quite public that they're kind of struggling to find where they're going to go. They've got a massive grassroots base. So kids want to play. There's a big love of netball in New Zealand, but they just can't seem to get it right at that ANZ premiership level. Do you look at that and think, I know how to fix that, or I've got an idea, or you're doing this wrong? Have you got any, off the top of your head, what would you do to fix netball in New Zealand?
I just encourage them to go play basketball, to be honest.
That's the softball, baseball argument all over.
No, in all seriousness, it's a traditional sport, and again, they've done their best with Fast Five to kind of reinvent the game, and adding in the power plays and things like that. Which, like for me, my wife watches netball, so for me when I'm watching now, that actually excites me that they've added this in. So I think that will keep the fandom growing. But again, a lot of it comes down to broadcast dollars, and they've had a pretty good broadcast deal for some time, and now it's like now that deal's gone, and that's taken the money away from the sport, which makes it really tough. Let's face it, the best netball countries are New Zealand and Australia. If they're not playing them on a regular basis, I think the gap will only start getting bigger and bigger, because there's so many girls that play netball in Australia that they'll start pulling away eventually. So we've got to find a way to be able to create that Trans-Tasman rivalry again.
And how about yourself, Camo? Because, I read a couple articles that said NZR were trying to, get the services of Cameron George, and I was like, that man will never stop until the Warriors win a premiership. But, I think that's another interesting case study in New Zealand right now. Obviously, what you're doing at the club has been incredible. I think it's 27 of the last 30 games have sold out. But, we're not really seeing that in other codes, So I guess what would you do if you were hypothetically to be changing sports?
I struggle to sort of comment on other sports, because there's a lot behind it you don't know about. But I do see some glaring things that you'd have a crack at. Like Super Rugby, I'd go back to Sunday afternoon. I'd go back to playing in the sunshine, the right stadiums and all that sort of thing, and reconnect with the family. But I mean, broadcasters might not approve of that, so there's another big hurdle. But that's about as far as I could comment on other sports. But I think one thing that's probably starting to progressively happen that's no one's seeing a little bit outside of the four walls is, I think you talk about netball and rugby and stuff, that I think you might see a sort of a group of clubs starting to get together. Like, I really feel like the Warriors, for argument's sake, we had a netball team, I'd love a big bash team. I've been trying to get a big bash team for the last 3 years on the quiet, and I'm over it now, so Australians won't give it to us. But, like working together, because you got one membership team, one pathways discussion, one commercial team, and so on and so on. I think you're going to start to see probably clubs and brands get together and codes and work together a bit more, which is really important.
So speaking of pathways, I think the basketball and the Warriors right now is in arguably the best place it's ever been. Cam, firsthand getting the Harold Matthews team in the comp. You got SG Ball, Jersey Flegg, as well as the Cup team that's won 14 in a row. And Dillon, you used to be the CEO of Basketball New Zealand, and you see that under-17s team come forth, and then a lot of them graduate to the under-19s team who also came forth. How important is that, as your clubs, how important are the pathways going forward?
Oh, it's massive for us. It's everything. We've, one thing that the Breakers lapsed when I was at Basketball New Zealand was the academy. So we had an academy that just about every tall black that's playing now has been through the academy at some stage or another. So we're trying to bring back the academy again. As Cam talked about, we are trying to go for women and men to really help that development pathway. We see the Breakers as a crucial piece to Basketball New Zealand's development, and if we can help in that space and help develop future under-17 and under-19 World Cup players, then that's a good thing for basketball.
Yeah, likewise. We've just done a partnership with Auckland Rugby League, and good to see Darren Brady here. That puts a lot of work and time and effort into it. We've tried to do it without pathways, doesn't happen, and we're doing it with pathways. It's a hell of a lot easier. Academies all around the country. The school system's a little bit tough to get crack into, but time will tell with that. But you can't do it without kids coming through, and you're not going to get the talent that we touch on.
Talking about telling a story for your club, I think a big part of that comes through the conversations that I had with media as well, because the media are a big part of telling that story. Before I ask you about what you think of media and how you go about it, I want to play a clip. Okay, so this is a bit of media. This was, I think it was post-COVID, before the Warriors had just come back to Mount Smart. This was a question thrown to Cam George.
with all due respect, and I don't, I'm not being smarty pants, and I'm not being personal in any way here, but the last time that you spoke, you talked a lot about positivity, about all the great things that were going on in the club and that were going to happen with the club. Roger left because the club's going nowhere, and what the success that he was promised and the recruiting he was promised never happened. Matt Lodge is now turning around. He's got the fourth different excuse in as many weeks as to why he's leaving. It seems that your best players don't want to stay. And I'm just wondering, the perception out there at the moment, if you read a lot of the fan stuff and that, and again, I say with all due respect, is that the owner really has lost the plot with this club, that it's going nowhere, that it's in a terrible state. You're one loss away from the wooden spoon, which is going to happen against Melbourne Storm in a couple of weeks. And so is it about time that perhaps the owner yourself looked at maybe reselling this club and handing it over to somebody that actually has some direction, has a future for the club other than losing all its very best players and riding a wave of emotion coming back to Mount Smart, which when you still look at the table means it's a losing season again?
Holy shit! So this is before the Warriors go on to make the top 4. All right, hit the prelims at Suncorp, almost sell out every game that year.
27 out of
the year
30.
after, they go on to be the first NRL team to sell out every home game this year. How do you deal with people like this?
Anyone that wears a black leather jacket like that should just shut up. Like that bloke obviously had no idea what everyone had been through, and I think he's been sacked from there as well. He's had about 3 different gigs since then, but you just block that stuff out. You got to front up, but you just block it out, and you just be truthful, be honest. And if the media don't like it, well, that's their bad luck. You just get on with it. But you do get the odd flipper like that.
Well, you do, man. I feel like as journalists, that's kind of how they make their mark and get themselves up there. And I think one thing that's happened lately is people will be overly negative, and it's seen as intelligence. I'm a realist. Let's just be real. That's how they start their conversations, and then it's always this. It must be so hard to deal with. Dillon, yourself?
Anyone who starts the conversation with all due respect,
generally
where it's headed. Yeah. So, again, I think I've become the master at answering the question how I want to answer it, not actually answering the question and actually getting the message across that what you want to say. So you may not even answer what they've asked you, but you're going to give them the honest truth. And I think, that's what the people actually want to hear. They want to hear the honest truth. And sometimes when you might be on a losing streak, but the team's actually played well, but just a couple of errors have cost you games, it doesn't mean the team's terrible. It just means you've got to tidy up a couple of errors, and you would have turned those into wins. And so in our sport, a couple of mistakes can be the difference between winning and losing. So sometimes you just got to rectify those mistakes, and you'll get those wins. But from the public perception, when they just see an L in the column, they think that everything's got to be thrown out with the bathwater, So, yeah, I think for us it's just always, again, sticking to those processes, knowing if you're doing the right thing.
Well, that's good to know, because you see sometimes with coaches, they'll kind of roll their eyes when they have to do media, or they'll just be really against it. Do you kind of look at it more as, okay, I'll talk to anyone as an opportunity to get out what I want to say? Is pretty much what you're saying here.
Yeah, I think, when you play shit, you tell them we played shit, we've got to do better, and the fans deserve better, and no one can argue with that, right? And it's like, and also, my pet peeve is when coaches blame the players, but if the coach puts their hand up and says, our game plan didn't work, then that's respectful, it's sometimes the coaches put something out there and the players try and execute and it doesn't work. And some good coaches will change on the fly, and others will be stubborn and not want to change because they've spent many hours deciding that that's the way they want to play. So sometimes you just don't get it right.
One more question before we do our putting challenge, fellas. I just want to know where, as president and CEO, where do you see your particular club in 3 to 5 years?
I think for us, we've got a new ownership group, so we're trying to build from the ground up. So again, for us, we hope we've got a fully fledged academy with talent coming through, and we've got fans that really believe in the product that we're putting out there and want to be a part of it, and having players that want to be there, and we're a desirable club for people to come and play for. And hopefully we've got a few trophies and a few nets being cut down at the same time.
I was just going to ask too, the identity of the Breakers at the moment. It's taken on a very Kiwi feel. Was that something that was intended, or is it just kind of happened by accident?
No, it was really intentional. We want to, again, we take a responsibility to develop the game in this country, and we've got some really talented players, and a lot of them are playing for NBL clubs in Australia. So we reached out to some of them that were out of contract, and to be honest, the conversation was pretty easy. All of them want to play in New Zealand. That's the draw card we have. So again, being able to bring those Kiwi talent back, but again, as Cam said, people are impatient and want wins, and if we can't do it with the local Kiwi talent, we're going to have to find some other talent out there that's able to plug in with them to be able to bring us championships. And it is a balancing act, but we certainly want to have a Kiwi flavour, both in coaching and in playing.
And how about you, Cameron? Where do you see this club in 3 to 5 years? I've actually got a tattoo here that says Warriors champions with 2002, so I've got about 4 more years before we fill that in, before it starts looking like shit.
Yeah, well, hopefully, we're working towards a premiership winning club. That's the goal. That's the outcome we always want. But in saying that, you don't just want to win a comp once. You got to win back to back and be successful for a long time. And to do that, good pathways, make New Zealand proud, make everyone in this country connected to us, and bring them along the journey. When they hold up that trophy, we represent a country, and we represent people, good and bad, and we inspire people, and that's something that we feel really proud about, and something we feel feel like it's really important to us to acknowledge that.
Who do you think speaking of identity, who creates the identity for the Warriors at the moment? Because I feel like in the last 3 years we've taken on something that hasn't been there before, and I can't quite put my finger on kind of where it stems from.
Just quick, in COVID, as I touched on, we just lost everything. The guy that put me on the right track and the guy that gave me the best advice around culture, I was fortunate enough to meet Dave Rennie on the Gold Coast when we were stuck there. Went and had a coffee with him for an hour, and I was there 7 hours later, and we sat there with a piece of blank paper, and he gave me the whole journey to go and follow that he'd experienced through the Chiefs, coaching the Wallabies at the time, and he's the one that showed me how to do it. And from that point on, we instilled a culture, an identity, and that's still very much alive today. But before that, we had nothing.
Wow, that's incredible. Thanks for sharing that, Cam. One more I've got from me, fellas, is what's been your most magic moment with the clubs?
Yeah, for me, I was fortunate enough to play for the Breakers, and I got to retire on our 3rd championship in a row. So and cutting down the nets in Perth, who was our arch nemesis, in your last ever game, it was pretty special. So for me, I was able to do it on the court, and it was funny because Daryl Corletto threw me the game ball at the end of the game as the clock was expiring, and I was so excited. I threw it into the crowd, and I wish I could. And so someone in the crowd's got that ball, so give that damn ball back. But yeah, he goes, "What are you doing? I gave it to you to keep." But I was so excited to win that I just threw it into the crowd.
I had a couple, but I think the thing that sticks with me the most is our return game from COVID. I think it was 1,038 days we were away. And there's something about that day, it was more about the emotion. It wasn't, a celebration per se. Everyone was really emotional about being back home, and that was a special sort of homecoming game, which was great.
Well, you saw up on the screen before, all the teams that haven't hit the mark this year, we've got 2 that we're banking on, the Wars and the Breakers, to bring us home. Obviously, we love a bit of competition here, so we're going to have a little golf putt-off. Warriors v Breakers.
Which ball do you want, mate? Are these real balls?
Oh, yeah, man. Genuine.
Breakers orange. Oh,
powerhouse.
A little bit faster.
Too many wheat picks.
Got those long levers, eh?
I have a feeling Camo's going to nail this first pop.
Look what he's wearing, of course he is.
Oh, wow, off the track.
We call that a Beyonce to the left, to the left.
Stitch up. Not even even. You need a level out, mate.
That's all part of the break. Oh! Off the rim and out.
For the win.
Boucher for the win. Oh. Going to game 3.
Wade at 6, I think.
What was Wade? Wade was 5.
5 or 6.
Yeah, 5.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's got to be in. Cam George takes the Warriors record in 3.
Just give me a chance.
To send it to a playoff. Put the trophy back. Playoff round. Playoff.
This is for the playoff. No, Cam's
We're
done.
all winners.
Ladies and gentlemen, please make some noise for Mr. Cam George, Mr. Dillon Boucher. How good, Jello. I mean, to get an insight into some legendary minds of New Zealand sport. You know, the Breakers, multiple-time NBL champions. The Warriors hold a special place in everyone in New Zealand's hearts. I mean, plenty of gems there, brother.
Oh, 100%. There's so much stuff there I didn't know. And, you sit down with one of those guys, you're going to learn so much. You sit down with 2 of them, that's a 2-for-1 package, brother. Can't beat that.
Yeah, look, we got a big weekend of sports, bro. We have, of course, on Friday night, our Warriors looking to bounce back. I love those 2 fellas, Dimitrik Vaimaunga and Leka Halasima. The future of this club is looking extremely bright, but we need this. We need it for the top 4. The Panthers are finding some red hot form. The Broncos are also knocking on the door. Obviously, we didn't want to lose those 2 points last week, but we need to bounce back against a pretty bloody strong Dolphins team.
Mate, very strong team. This is a team that's been scoring north of 44 points, in the last month. They've got Felice Kafusi back to bolster that middle, a middle where we lose James Fisher-Harris. We lost the middle last week. It's going to be very tough this week. I think we've got Tanner Stowers-Smith as the only middle. I think the only prop on the rotation.
We got Freddie Lussick too.
We got Freddie Lussick, big Freddie.
We got Freddie Lussick
to hold it down.
But look, before we move on, I want to know what you would call Felice Kafusi's haircut. You know, we've got the mullet. We don't have a photo of it, but I'm sure if you know what I'm talking about, that thing is crook.
Yeah, well, I was talking to some of the boys on the job site out in Takanini. They actually, they'll have bets on the weekend, and the loser has to come to work with the Felice Kafusi.
Yeah, let's leave that one out of our work bets. Bro, also we have the NRLW first ever Magic round. So our Wahine are going over there to Newcastle. They've got the 1 win, they've got the monkey off the back, but, they're out-muscled again last week by the Titans. It's a tough comp out there. They're playing girls who have been playing regular football. They played the Roosters, who had 12 State of Origin players out of their 17. So, I'm seeing signs. Michaela Brake starting to get involved more. Harata Butler in the middle starting to look really good. But the one for me is Peyton Takimawana, who's scored 5 tries already in this season.
Yeah, they're going great, man, and they're improving every week. And those debutants that played last week, they've done such a great job. Going to Newcastle, they love their rugby league in Newcastle, especially, every time there's a big girls game, the Origins, things like that, the finals, they seem to take it to Newcastle. They get a great turnout. I think it's going to be a great weekend. 1 out of 4, that's what they are at the moment. It is a short comp, so they're going to have to get back into the winner's circle if they want to have a crack at finals.
Absolutely. We got the NPC, the Rugby Union, underway this week. Tomorrow night, across there at the Garden of Eden, we have Auckland versus Waikato. My flatmate actually coaches in the Auckland side, and he's liking the way they're looking. But news out of the Waikato team, we've got Aaron Cruden playing first 5 at 37, and we got Lima Sopoanga coming off the bench, making his first appearance in New Zealand footy since 2018, where he left and he arguably had his best All Black season yet. Single-handedly beat the Saffers at their house. So it's his first game back at Eden Park, playing for Waikato, which was pretty buzzy. No one was expecting that, but provincial footy's back.
That's what it's about, and it's about seeing those guys come back. Where was he playing? Was he in Japan?
He was firstly at London Wasps, then they went bust, and then he stayed in England for a little bit, played, I believe, at Newcastle Falcons, and then, yes, he was in League One in Japan just recently. So
that's so good, man. So good to see those guys back.
He's a good man too.
Yeah, I hope Auckland do all right this year, but Tasman, red hot favourites. Have you seen their team?
Yes.
Pretty
stacked.
much half the Crusaders and
Stacked.
some real guns in there as well, so they'll take some beating.
They will. But last but not least, our man, Captain Pink Eye. He's back this week. Hungarian Grand Prix, he finished 8th at Spa. He's starting to find some form in this Racing Bulls car. Yuki Tsunoda is getting absolutely demolished by him every week. So, it's great to see our boy Liam Lawson start to rack up a few points.
Yeah, I think, look at that F1 in Spa. He qualified in 8th, started in 8th, he finished in 8th. So I think the key for him is, to qualify. He's got to get somewhere up there in the top 10, and he'll give himself a good chance, because guys don't seem to go past him when he gets up there.
He needs a good car, and the Red Bull system, it was designed for Max Verstappen. Basically, the rumor is that if Max's car buggered out, they had a ready-made replacement exactly for how Max drives, and it's no surprise that Liam couldn't drive it, Yuki couldn't drive it. So I'm excited. There's more teams coming into Formula 1. Audi's coming in next year. Ford is coming in as well, and a General Motors team, I believe, in a few years as well. So look, we got to get our boy in a good car, and we got to keep the engineers away from his helmets.
I don't know what song he's listening to there, actually. Hopefully, what do you reckon?
I reckon he's listening to Cam George's high school song, the 1942 finger bopper.
Oh, you know the words?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, yeah, sweet. No, look, this is what we're going to do for our friends at TAB. We're going to take the Waz. We're going to take the Wahines. We're going to take Auckland in the MPC, and we're going to get Liam Lawson.
Top 10er.
Top 10?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's
top
lock
10.
him in. Top 10. Put it all on a multi. I haven't got the calculations yet, but I'll tell you what it's paying, and I'll tell you now. The winnings are going on the bar next Wednesday for another hour year.
Sounds good. Thank you for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks to Full Time for hosting us. Thanks to our friends at Spates for sponsoring us. Cheers, brother. Cheers, mate. And our friends at the TAB, Scopic, and of course, Cam George's Mighty One New Zealand Warriors. That's us for another week. Thank you for joining us. Thanks to Dillon Boucher. Thanks to Cam George. Thanks for joining us. Go the fucking Warriors.